hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shortbangers. I'm Matty. This is episode 90. Happy New Year. If you've not listened to Longbangers yet, we've not said Happy New Year to you already. We're a wee bit behind on our Shortbangers questions because of an enforced absence. It feels like ages since we've done a Shortbangers. Joined tonight by Colin and John. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It feels like ages because it was Christmas. I was off my work for 2.5 weeks, and I think it felt like about 2 or 3 days.
Aye.
So it's just that time of year, isn't it? But
it is. We've got a
look on the bright
questions.
side, you're 1 year closer to retirement.
Aye, you're close to your mortgage being paid off and all the rest of it.
aye,
Happy days. I tend to look at it as these landmarks rather than like a year closer to your death, which is the kind of the grim way of looking at it, isn't it?
Longbangers, the optimistic podcast.
The optimistic podcast. How are you doing, John?
I'm really good, aye. It's good to see you. It's good to chat to you. Happy to be here.
Right, I'm going to put 30 minutes on the clock. We'll try to get through as many of these questions as we can. Probably got a couple of episodes worth tonight, so don't worry if you didn't hear a question answered on this one. We'll get to it eventually. So the first one for the night comes from William. It says, I think this must be discussed. My mate's old man accidentally used shoe deodorant on his armpits once and done himself a right mischief with it. Any similar errors? You ever put anything somewhere where it shouldn't have gone by mistake?
what's shoe deodorant? Do you all like to get if you've got smell?
Aye, like
like
odor
you
eaters,
can't
like
smell, but for your feet.
Aye, no, odor eaters are insoles, isn't it? But I think there's an odor eater spray as
like
well.
That. Right, okay. Yeah.
I think, is that the stuff that they try and upsell you when you were at JGB Sports? When it was still a thing? Was it JGB?
They try to upsell you everything in there. Eh?
Aye, like, do you want fucking gel inserts? Do you want stuff to make your shoes look good? Do you want it to smell good? No, especially, mate. Just geese the gutties and let me go.
Aye.
I've got in the house already. They target them heavily on that, though. Eh? They started on that. Anyway,
I think I've used the wrong product before. Not that I can think of.
no, stuff like salt. You put salt instead of sugar in the tea or anything like that. No.
Nah.
I've seen that. I've seen the deep heat thing getting done, but that's not accidental. That's somebody deliberately doing it to somebody in anticipation of them pulling their pants on.
Was that in your rugby days, Colin?
It would have been. But that's no you picking it up by accident and sticking it on.
I think I'm sure there's no like an Amazon review of somebody who had used
the Veet hair removal.
Oh,
aye. And they'd used it either by accident or they'd used it on their boss or something. They wrote a whole review about it. They went viral.
Accidentally used it on their boss, that's right.
Accidentally.
I used to work with a boy who'd used, I'm assuming it was Veet, it was some sort of hair removal cream. And I think he'd used it on his chest, and I wanted to say that he'd used it on his balls as well. And I think these things, there's like a very specific time frame that you're supposed to leave it on for, and they tell you that for very good reason because he ended up with 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah.
Aye, as a result. But I don't know. Would you ever? Either of you guys? I know, like we've talked about manscaping before, but would you ever go? Have you ever gone bald? On your nads?
No. We're off the wrong era for that, am I not?
Aye.
That's what the young team do.
I'm a man. They're big, hairy globes. Sorry. They're big, hairy globes.
If you trim it down, it looks bigger. So it's maybe helpful from that point of view. I think that's why the young team must do it.
Worth a try there, eh?
Young team build. That's what they say. Like, there's that much plastic and is it estrogen in the water that we're all turning into women anyway.
Yeah.
So shave your balls, make your vagina look bigger.
Aye. Right, next question. Alistair Taylor says, what would you do if you went for a jobby and you forgot your mobile or newspaper Do you just do the 1,000-yard stare for the 20 minutes thinking of nothing, or do you just drop, nip, wipe, and go?
Does it specify a location? Because if I'm in the house, I've got the Viz Profanosaurus.
The Profanosaurus,
we
which
spoke about that before.
That's a handy thing to have.
Aye. But if you're at work or something, then it's just in and out, innit? The SAS style.
Aye.
What's your thoughts on going into a cubicle and you find like a Metro or an Evening News sitting on the floor? Do you read it?
No, I've never done that. No.
But
They might like
you have
cars now.
found newspaper and fucking hell. I definitely read it.
I would, if there was nothing else, I would just have a look at the back page or whatever.
That's the obligatory thing. You never bother with the front page. It's like what's happening in the sporting world. It's in the Metro. It's fuck all to do with Hibs ever.
Because I would assume that somebody's left it there in not in a mean spirited way, but as in like a community spirited.
Like a library. I
didn't need it anymore, so I'll leave it for the next guy going in. I think that's how, when you see a newspaper left in the toilet, that's what that's for. We would sometimes, if you were in the toilet and you were like at work, moaning about magazines and that not being restocked, because some folk would take you seriously, like because obviously they're no, and well, I presume they're no in the women's toilets, but you could say it, and if the person you're talking to is also quick enough to get that you're joking, they would go, "It's a nightmare when that happens," and somebody would go, "How do you get magazines in the toilet?" And you can, because it's not like they're going to go in and check, so you can cause a bit of furore just by pretending that the gents stock the magazines or newspapers.
Good idea. Top tip.
Yep, top tip. Shampoo bottles of that, like when you before mobile phones, like when you were wee, if you forgot to take a magazine or a book in with you, then it would be again, what's in this shampoo?
I take it everybody just accepts that folk look at their phones now. That used to be a thing though, that folk were like, you didn't look at your phone when you're having a shite, didn't you?
Everybody does,
Just everyone's walking about with these portable hotbeds of bacteria.
Aye. Okay, right, well, we're on with the next question. Why do people pull out in front of you at junctions, causing you to brake for them like they're in the biggest hurry ever and then drive at less than the speed limit? So I think this could be a combination of a pet peeve and a question there. There's nothing worse than folk who are desperate to get in front of you, who then get in front of you and then drive slow as anything, because you just think, it's a fucking point.
I just think it's they've not looked. Like, they've not looked to see you in the first place. It must be, because they pull out. I think they're just pulling out either way. Like, if you were closer, you would be crashing into them. Because, as you're right, or the question's right, it's like 20 mile an hour, you're like, what the fuck happened there? Like,
aye.
Or they can't judge the distance correctly or something. You know, like their whatever that is. It's not peripheral vision, but their vision that judges distance. That one.
Perception.
Yeah, perception is aye.
Depth perception, yeah.
Aye, so that one. They kind of judge it, so they've just went and then fucking trundled along.
It's annoying, I remember seeing so not quite the same thing, right? But similar. Coming off the Forth Road Bridge and driving to Edinburgh, also going to work. Road was quite quiet, and there was like a sort of battered looking Golf that was driving slow. And what the boy would do, so they'd obviously had it souped up, so he'd drive slow until somebody overtook them or were about to overtake them, and then he'd floor it to go like way in front of them, and then once he was way in front of them, just slowed right down again. So he just wouldn't let anybody overtake him. It was like,
aye, I know. That? But you see it all the time. You ever driven on a motorway with you've got cruise control? You ever driven on a motorway with cruise control? That's when you notice how erratic drivers are. Because you're overtaking a car, then next thing it's overtaking you, and then you're overtaking it again. You're like, I'm sitting here at a steady 74 or whatever you think will get you under the camera limit.
Aye.
And this boy's fucking inside you, and you're like, your fuel must be just burn away with the economy. Just.
Have you ever overtaken someone, say you've set the cruise control like 71, and it's quite apparent that the person on the inside lane has got their cruise control set at 70? It's like the slowest race ever.
It's like a lorry and a lorry. So when they overtake each other, like, why are you bothering? Why are you fucking bothering? You've got the same speed as it can.
Lorries are funny, like the way they just sort of like, there's that unwritten, unspoken understanding between them about who's pulling out and who's doing what and when. And it's just like little adjustments. Like one of them will pull out, then they'll pull in front, and then someone like the same guy, they'll just come around. It's bizarre. There must be a reason for it. If there's any truckers there, they're going to explain.
Indicators and flashes and that, innit? They do it all the way.
How many times have you been driving down the roads and there's been like a lorry coming in the opposite direction? You've seen like a flash of the lights or something. You thought, or someone's flash behind you. You thought, what the fuck am I doing? No, it's not. It's just because they're saying hello to their pal. That isn't their pal. They just happen to also be driving a lorry.
Aye, that happens a lot. I mind we worked at the Gyle. Me and my mate Stevie, who by the way is now fit as a fiddle, but he wasn't back then. We would sometimes go for a jog after work or on lunchtime. Colin, sometimes we would go for a cycle or whatever. Yeah. And so we'd come like along. Do you know where the lights are? Where Macro used to be? I think Macro's still there. And we were coming back down towards the Gyle, and there's a wee sort of dual carriageway bit. There's me and Stevie running. And obviously, I'm no light on my feet, but we were running alongside, and I started laughing because I thought we looked at that point probably like two lorries. Well, it looked like he was slightly ahead of me. I mean, we would have looked like two lorries overtaken, or like just a really shite fucking chase. So I was like, this looks horrendous, and that put me off running just because I had that image in my head. It's like, I'm not doing this again.
Is Steve the guy who someone had shouted that it looked like a big green dildo way back on early Longbangers?
No, that was a boy called Dave who heard that episode, by the way, because he got in touch with me after it. But that was one of my favourite shows. He was running up Arthur seat, and he just got, I think it was the slope Hibs top. Mind that one that and somebody rolled in the window and just shouted at him, "You look like a big green dildo." And then he just kept running. Aye, folk are nice, eh? Right, next question. Neil Renton, how much would it take you to eat yellow snow?
Oh,
how much you got in your pocket, Neil?
See, he doesn't specify why it's yellow. So if you were clever about this, you could just get a wee bit of yellow food colouring and make yourself a hefty wee wedge here. But if it was yellow snow on the street, no deal.
Would you assume that it was a dog that had pished there or a human? Would that change your price?
I wouldn't take any chances either way.
And how much snow is it? Like just a bite, or like a whole fucking section?
Like a glassful.
Talking like a wee slush puppy, a wee pish.
Aye,
puppy.
Like a slush puppy portion.
Oh, that's quite a lot. I would take a few bob for that. Just for a bite, it would be a lot cheaper. But for a slush puppy, I'd be looking for £7.
See the folk that drink their own pish, they don't say that pish is sterile, so are you not just eating snow, basically?
Is that no it's your own pish, though?
Aye.
Oh, I don't know.
I just can't. But maybe like £1 million or something like that, or like a life-changing amount. Maybe you'd go take the hit.
Colin, you played rugby like that. That something like that must have come up in the rugby club. Like there must have been some sort of forfeit, some sort of dare, someone to drink pish. Like that. I think that's the kind of situation that is going to happen. Like nobody's going to come along like offering £1 million to drink pish or eat pish.
You're sensible folk. Anybody that gets involved in that's the fucking idiot, eh? The dafty.
Yeah.
Sensible folk are the ones that are filling the glass. You know what I mean? So, like Neil's trying to be, because he obviously thinks we're the dafties. Then he's finding out we're not. That's what. That's what
he's not put his hand in his pocket yet. Right. Willie asked, what was the script with the oversized suits in the 90s that Michael Jordan, Puff Daddy, etc. all wore? A jail sentence should have been handed down for puff dancing in the Hypnotised video alone, but throw the suit into that equation. What's your thoughts?
It's just fashions, eh?
I don't know. That American fashion, I don't think it's come away too much for that. I still think that the clothes are oversized. Like, I'm probably going to sound like a fucking proper Hibs die here, but seeing the rap videos, the clothes are still oversized. I think in terms of like your sportswear, like your American football jerseys, I know they're big anyway, but the jersey you see folk wearing tend to be massive, like your hockey jersey, all that sort of stuff. They tend to be huge. But I like the really baggy trousers were mental. And I don't know, I don't remember that fashion being over here. I don't remember anyone wearing oversized suits.
No, but the one they cut like that now. But they're only cut like that now, though. Like, go and buy a suit now. Like, when you used to go and buy a suit, you bought a suit and it fitted. It was maybe... Whereas now you buy it and it's like, you get slim, super slim, fucking skinny.
Yeah.
You didn't just... You struggle to get, like, a regular fit, which is, again, there's where I'll bag here, but that's what I think. I was thinking that not long ago, actually. I wonder if in 20, 30 years' time when we're watching TV back and you see James Bond with a suit that's too wee for him, because effectively, as his arms are popping out in that, you think, why the fuck were they wearing jeans that didn't reach their ankles and suits that tight? It couldn't have been comfy. That's what folk kind of, because it'll come in cycles. It's like
I was thinking there when you were describing like James Bond like bursting out his suit in 30 years' time, and people think that's weird. Like, do you think James Bond in 30 years' time is just going to be like an elderly, overweight guy rather than fucking ripped and stepping out the ocean?
No, I'll be a woman.
The thing is, and you make a good point, though, Colin, because the classic suits, like if you watch an old James Bond, like Sean Connery still looks amazing. Do you know, like you go and say, look at he's a dapper gentleman, that kind of thing.
But was that no? Was he not wearing a
tailor?
Aye.
Oh no, was that a tuxedo or was that a proper suit? Can't remember. What was he wearing when he was at dinner parties and he had like the white shirt, black tie kind of thing?
Well, be tux for the dinner parties.
But it was still like tailored fit rather than like the things you see now that are just like, how you even get in? Even watching like sports scene, you hear them talking about on off the ball and that, like they laugh about it all the time that you can't get on there unless you've painted the jeans on, sort of thing.
Aye.
And it is like that. That's what it is. That's the fashion now. But you wonder if they show an old sports scene in 30 years' time, when we're old and retired and that we go, fuck, I used to wear them, and the grandparents are going, poof.
So do we need to get
big boot cuts on again, like we used to?
Do we need to get
people laughing at Mark Haley's jackets? Mind that used to be his jackets were shite. Even for the time they were shite, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if the trick to get rid of Stephen Thompson and likes Ricky Foster is just to get them fat, so they can't get the skinny jeans.
So you want us to start sending pot noodles and chocolates and that to the BBC studios?
Aye, definitely.
Just send them 80295 if anybody's listening.
Text them in 80295. Right, Mick, this question hasn't aged well, unfortunately. It says, will the League Cup win on Sunday be bigger than 2007? We're just going to skip past that one now because we're looking what happened there. Katie Stewart, her pet peeve is that shitey wee dance that Celtic do when they win a game. Do they do the kind of footballers do that thing where that's how the only way they can celebrate, like pumping the one arm up and then the other one. I can't remember. What's the shite they when they win?
Is it another one when they bounce back and they bounce up? Was it the players or the fans? Because the fans do that, and when they turn away and they bounce up and down, the Polish team started it.
Oh, it was like
Poznan. Aye. I always say it's ridiculous. Why do you know what watch the game, man? They must have missed goals or red cards and things like that with fanning about trying to look smart.
It's because they're ultras, eh? Pure ultras.
Fans. But they all do it. They all do it, though. It's not just the dafties and the ultras. It's the whole thing. I didn't see them doing it anyway this time, so.
No, fuck them. Stuart, his pet peeve is the phrase, I don't mean to nag. He says, of course you don't.
Yeah.
Aye, I'm not having a go. Aye, yeah. Well, okay, that's coming next.
No offence, but.
No offence, but
I think all three of us have raised our eyebrows almost in unison. I've heard this.
Ewan Dawson, his pet peeve is sunbeds. He's ever been on a sunbed?
No. Had to think about that for a second. Then.
Never fake tanned, never sunbedded.
I've got that. I tan like a Scotsman. It's like face, forearms, like lower half of my legs. Everything else underneath is just fucking white, and it burns if I ever take anything off. Actually, see when I went to get my second COVID vaccine, it was an Asian boy that was doing it, and he lifted up my shirt sleeve, and he goes, "Oh, you've got some tan on you." And then we got chatting about the golf and that. I just thought it was a funny moment.
Obviously, been sarcastic, like. I'm glad that's where that went. I was wondering where you were going with that for a minute.
Disco's 2, his pet peeve, up talking. Just stop it. Up talking. When would that get used?
What's up talking?
Is that what, is it at the end of a sentence when folk do the inflection at the top?
That is an annoying thing.
That is.
That started because of home and away, isn't it?
Australian thing. It seems to be an Australian thing. Yeah.
Aye. And it got
Give me an example.
Give you an example. The inflection at the end of a sentence.
Up talking, but in an Australian accent.
We'll care how bad your accents are in here. Colin, you ever bash it in an Australian accent?
Not even not in the slightest. No. I was struggling to even think of a sentence with the inflection at the end. Never mind trying to get an Australian fucking accent as well. Mate,
I can't start getting in for the tennis, mate.
That's quite funny, that though.
Aye. Folk are doing the thinking about that. But I'm sure somebody's got it as a pet peeve later on, so we'll come on to it. But in fact, it's two up for here. So 150k on Hanlon Hill. His pet peeve, vaxxers and anti-vaxxers tweeting shite about each other onto my timeline. Give it a rest. Let folk make their own minds up. You're not going to influence maybe your shite. And that's true. Like, nobody's getting influenced by that. If somebody's constantly tweeting the opposite of what they're thinking. But this thing with Djokovic and Sturgeon and the restrictions on the rest of it, folk are proper giving it full-on fascism and Nazi state now. They've gone like it's full scale now. It's not even just kind of hinting at it now. People who are against it are proper, like comparing it to Nazi Germany, which is just like fucking mental. Like, I wonder what they would think if they saw what Nazi. Okay, imagine if you went and said, right, you go back in time, right, or watch a documentary because time travel is not possible. We go back in time. Here you are. You're in Germany. A Jewish family. Just spend the day with them. See what happens as they get whisked off to somewhere horrible. You know, their kids and everything separated and all the rest of it, and go right. That's what it really looks like. You're getting told you can't go to a disco with a vaccine, or if you get ill with COVID, you're not allowed out for 7 days. They're not really the same thing, are they? Like, that's no comparable.
No. The only compare would be if you rounded them up into the leisure centre and made them have the jag, but then let them out. That's where the comparison falls over as well, even in that case.
Yeah.
And it's I didn't get it, but then like it's fucking mad. Like, you see the Frankie Boyle programme the other week that was on Christmas. I say the other week, probably just the other day. And they showed a clip for the BBC News, and it was a health centre in England somewhere, and a couple of anti-vaxxers going in with big, huge summonses for courts, like loads of different papers, and saying this one, and this is the Pope that's decided this one. You'll not understand it because they're all much more intelligent and all that, because they know loads of stuff that nobody else knows and all that. That's it. You watch the clip, man. It's fucking hilarious. It's mental that the belief.
And the folk go the other way as well. Kind of not just that. It's the point that 150k and Hanlon Hill's making is about either side of it. It's like fucking any mention it, they're all over it. I just try to stay out as much as possible now, and like have a wee moan on here about it, but just like fucking hell.
But folk are influenced by social media, though, eh?
Aye,
that's how it works.
But just to be clear,
they're influenced in that they get firmer in their own belief. They're no influence to go, I previously thought that, but now I think this. They just get more entrenched into what they think.
They paid, and that's right, and that's what they've done. What they looked at people that look at these kind of things, or they'll also want to see some racism in that. So that's what and that's no, I'm not taking the piss or anything. That's actually what they done. They'll be all there, anti a bit of casual racism, fire more of that in there, make them think that, and then by the way, you want to vote Brexit, you know, and that's what they paid for, like Cummins and all that. There was a programme on it on Channel 4.
Aye.
Can I just double check? Nicola Sturgeon's no rounding folk up to go off to the time capsule concentration camp, no?
Not yet.
Not yet, because it's only 500 in a venue at the moment.
Aye.
All right. So,
17th of January is probably when they'll think about that.
Just in time for the Six Nations.
Just
fucking rugby cunt.
Celtic.
I'd fucking round them up and tear them with a time capsule.
They're just going to move to England to play their games. That's what they've said. Fuck it, we came on, we'll just shove 60,000 folk into fucking England. Because it's alright doing that. Play the game at Newcastle. That's how mental it is.
It's mental. That's what I should be clear that I didn't necessarily agree with everything that's happening as well. I kind of like take the piss at the folk who take it to extremes and that, but aye.
I don't also think that rugby cunts should be rounded up and taken to the time capsule.
I don't even know what is fucking going on. I've stopped fucking watching it anymore because
you can't get to that point. You just go
fucking rules.
I've had it now anyway, so I think that means I'm pretty much invincible. Like I'm immune to it in a way. Like I can.
Well, that's your back on Djokovic, because that's what Djokovic thought when Australia told me fuck off back game.
Aye,
because that was his exemption. Well, I've had it before, and they went, "No, that doesn't count."
That's not how it works. Fuck off. It's funny. I saw a few folk talking about border patrol. Like when I went to Australia, I don't know if either you two guys have been, but when I went, I think it was when I went to New Zealand. But I think we also had it when my wife and I went to Australia. I was taking a pair of hiking boots to New Zealand with me, and when I got to New Zealand, they were asking me about it. I went. I think I had to show them it, and they had to take the boots away to be sanitised to make sure that you didn't bring anything in. Like they're really fucking strict. So a guy, it doesn't matter if you're number one tennis star in the world. If they didn't want to let you in because you may or may not be carrying something, you're not getting in.
Yeah. Imagine if we taken that approach here, how like life would be different for us all now.
I don't know if I can relive the last 2 years.
Fattest Prickers said, folk that park against the flow of traffic as a pet peeve. That's not something that really bothers me that much. If they're parked, unless they're trying to cut across you to get in.
It's when they try and get back out.
Aye.
That causes a bit of hassle, but it's not at the top of my list. But it is annoying. The boy just about chopped me the night, drove into me because he'd reversed out of space on the wrong side of the road. And then I'm coming down the road, and he decided, well, I'm indicating, so I can now go into my side of the road. I thought, no, mate, you're still fucking on the wrong side of the road. But so that annoyed me, but it doesn't normally annoy me that much.
Do you not find though that parking spaces here, because they sort of run? How do I put this? I don't know what I say. Parallel. Sorry, is it perpendicular? Is that the right word? To the road. Whereas
parallel
you didn't actually get a good view of, like, say you drive into the space. It's not convenient if you are with traffic to reverse into a space. So it's an easy exit for you to get out, or to give you a better view to get out. But also the parking spaces, the way they are, they don't give you the best view anyway. They should be at an angle rather than fucking pull in off the road.
Come on, it's me about parking. See, when you're you're trying to park on the right side of the road to keep Alex happy, and you see a space, you indicate and you stick it in reverse, and the car behind you just drives right behind you, and there's no room for it. That annoys me. That's more annoying than somebody parking on the wrong side of the road.
Aye, 100% on board with that one. Ewan Wilson said his peeves, Microsoft Teams ringtone. I can't think what that's like, but do you have your ringtone on in your phone and that? Like my phone's always on silent.
My phone has been on silent, uninterrupted since about 1999.
Good.
Like, honestly, like you'll rarely, if ever, get a hold of me on the phone. Chances are, if you phone me, I'll phone you back within like 2-3 minutes.
What about you, Colin? Do you have your sound effects on?
Yeah, that's because one of my pet peeves is folk that didn't have their phone. Because my wife is on silent at the time. You're like, you phone her, then you've got to wait on the phone call back when she eventually realises somebody's phone done. You go, fuck it, just answer the fucking thing. But Teams, I have it through the laptop and the sound comes through there. So I've got the volume on so that I can hear people when they're speaking. So you hear the ringtone as well.
Is that annoying?
I can't remember.
Is it like
I've totally switched off to what it is now because it.
I can't remember exactly. Does it go something like that?
Nah,
can't remember. Might be making that up.
Yeah, again, John.
No, fuck off. Ken, what fucks me off about Microsoft Teams, when you do get the call coming through and you get the wee notification on the bottom right-hand side, how many times have you rejected the call for the person coming through because the most prominent button is the hang up button?
That's right.
That doesn't make any sense. Who the fuck signed off on that?
I don't know. It's a big one in the middle you need to press.
Aye.
Talking about accidentally hanging up on folk, right? There's a wee story for when I worked at HSBC. Right, so this obviously predates Microsoft Teams and things like that. When you get like the sort of the triangle-shaped conference call.
Aye.
Starphone.
Or the wee spider thing.
Aye. So my old manager, a guy called Davey, right, hard-looking guy, right, and he was grumpy all the time, and we were in for this. It was like a new mortgage product launch or something like that. And we had to go into this meeting for it. So we get there. Davey's already there, dialed in. The room kind of fills. So we're all sat around the table. There's probably about 10 of us in there, and the person presenting. So we've got slides up. We just got this new smart, the smart boards put in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two stories. There's another one which if I've got time, I'll tell it right for David and the smart board. But anyway, the person on on the speaking, wherever they were based, says like, there's quite a lot of background noise. So if you wouldn't mind, can you mute your phones? Nobody's moving. So I'm like, can you just sit there? So I went to that, fucking hung up. I just pressed the wrong button. So I went dead. Lost the presentation, everything. Davey went, what you doing, you pillock? Like that, and threw his arms up. And I was like, oh, shit. Right? So everybody's trying not to laugh so that David didn't get him out, right? And I'm trying my best not to laugh as well. And so David's punching the number back in, but it's proper like kind of bang, bang with his finger like this, all agent staring at me as he's doing it. And the automated voice comes like this, like, you're now entering. So mute your handset, press star now. And he just looks at me like, fucking, oh. There was another time, so the smartboard was one of these ones you had like the special pens you could write on it, and it was like they were electronic, but they had the different colours and everything. And he's taken us into the room, and our teams we must have like a shite week for the sales or whatever. My team had done all right, so I was like going into this meeting thinking I'm going to be all right here because we've hit our target. So we're sitting, and he's got spreadsheets up, and he's fucking circling things with the black pen. He's got the red pen out, crosses here, and he's shouting at folk and doing all this. And then it crashed, right? And he was kind of like, what the fuck's happened here? And as he's looking at it, it replayed what he did, but without the spreadsheets, he just had like kind of these random crosses and circles. It was like somebody's having a demented game with the fucking knots and crosses. And I think why I found it as funny as I did, but like I was literally in tears laughing at him, and you could just see him getting angry. Anyway,
I think that was
smartboards or didn't go.
Sounds like a great guy to work for, though. Sounds like a great guy. He sounds like the kind of guy you really want to work for, eh? Sorry, Terry Butcher, sales management.
It was. So I ended up having loads of time for him, but at first I didn't take time at all. I found it really difficult, and he was one of these guys who would work at 2, 3 in the morning. I mean, being up one night with a laptop, having a IM conversation with him, working, and it was like 1:30, 2 in the morning. I'm like, fuck am I doing here? I should speak to him about it and say, you shouldn't be doing that because that puts the pressure on us to be working at that time. Yeah. And then we went to Ben Nevis. This is when my opinion of him changed. We went to Ben Nevis. We were doing like a charity climb. And I think if you've climbed Ben Nevis before, there was a wee bothy you can go into that's got a bar, you can get food, and then down there's like a wee hostel just right next to it. So we were all staying in the hostel. So everybody's been drinking, right? Some folk could be drinking all the way up to Ben Nevis, right? So we get there. So the group of boys come in behind us for our team. And they were absolutely smashed by the time they got there. So we're all in the bunk beds. There's me, Stevie, that was talking about earlier, my other mate, Alan. And we're having like a bit of nonsense, kind of like giggles and everything like that. And they're bad for farting. So, like, somebody let one go and you'd be like, fuck. And then you'd hear folk laughing, and I would be bad for kind of getting set off again. Anyway, everybody falls asleep, right? It's all quiet. And then I woke up to the sound of like water hitting the floor, right? And my first reaction is, I hope that's not me, right? Because right, listen to me. So first thing, then I hear, that's on my pieces, right? What you right? And what had happened is the laddie, I don't name him, had just basically got up and he'd gone to the end of the row and just started pissing, and in the
lean, obviously there.
In the lean. And then next voice you should be like quiet, right? Going, oh fucking hell, what's happening here? Right? Take it on. Next thing you hear is Dave going, that's hit my feet. he says, but you did. And the boy goes, Shazam! We're in bits anyway. The boys, one of the other boys, kind of helped the boy back to his bed and everything, and started cleaning it up. Fucking pushing it, but like I've got again tears in my eyes, laughing, and we're all trying to be quiet because it's like obviously Davey's raging and he's like ready to just take your heads off. But for like the next hour after that, it would be quiet, and then I would just let it be laugh, and then it would be like uproar for a wee bit, and then somebody else would laugh, and then that would set me off. But the next morning, as we're about to set up for the climb, David gathered everybody together, and we were like, "Oh fuck, he's going to go through this here," and he was like, "Right, work in what happened last night. So the last time anybody talks about it, if I hear anybody mentioning it again, they'll be the ones that are in trouble when we get back to work. So what happened stays here. That's it." Right, and you're going, fair play, because he could have hammered the boy for it, right? And I don't ken to this day whether he did, like, the night on the Monday when we got back in the office or whatever, but he just nipped it. But the thing that he did, there was a lassie that was climbing who shouldn't have been doing it. Like, wasn't fit enough to be doing it, or they'd kind of come along underestimating how much an effort it was to climb up Ben Nevis or walk up Ben Nevis. And Davey stayed with her the whole time. They made sure that she got up. She's crying and everything. Got her up that mountain and back down again. Took hours and hours. David could have finished it. He did it like a regular walker. He could have been up and down probably 3 times in the time it took. But he just made sure she was the last man standing kind of thing. And he got her up and down. I was like, fair play to you. After that, I kind of changed my mind about him. But it was, aye. And
fucking sacked her as soon as he got back to the office. He's like, go back, mate. What the fuck was that? The fucking embarrassment. You're right.
You're right. But I changed my mind about him after that. And, I bump into him in Tesco's and that now and again. Start to have a blather with him. Nice guy. Once you actually get to get him, I think he mellowed a bit in his old age as well. Anyway, right, that's
the tills. I can imagine it. It's like he's fucking queues in this place. It's a fucking.
That's my shopping.
It sounded like a rant that the boy had just to show off his smartboard.
Oh, listen, that's probably the case because it was like taking advantage of all the technology that was there that you possibly could have. It was hilarious when it went wrong and just started playing it back. I wouldn't even care how you'd make it do that, but it was so funny.
That makes it almost sound like it was like animations that were built into a PowerPoint.
Aye, that's what it looked like. It looked like if you set a slideshow and it was playing it through, but it just played back all the markings.
Maybe he didn't actually know how to work the smartboard, so that is exactly what he done. His spreadsheet didn't load, but his PowerPoint did.
Maybe. Right. Actually, Luke, you had another couple that we'll cover off, and then we'll wrap this episode up. Lateness, any form, people, transport, deliveries, a lot. I think we've covered lateness before. Pain in the arse.
Oh, just any kind of lateness. Any, no delivery, even deliveries, but people like that, like not just deliveries or buses but somebody says I'll meet you at 7 and they didn't turn up at 7. Fucking pisses me off.
And then controversial one for you is last mistake. Folk pushing a pram, assuming they have the right of way, and they put in brackets, maybe this makes me an arsehole.
No, the rules of the road applies. It's the same with trolley. They score as that and that. It's like they come out an aisle and they just keep walking. You're like, no, you've came at us, give way. Like at the end.
See if
someone for a buggy. Like if somebody was coming along with a path with a buggy, I would move onto the road and let them.
Oh, aye. Oh, absolutely. Aye.
I remember when I was doing Livy Centre recently. I think it was must have been end of November, beginning of December. It was getting busy, and I saw a woman who was basically using the buggy as like a plough. And to be fair, like folk were just moving it away. Even folk that didn't realise that the pram was there. So I don't know if it's something that's hardwired into us just to know, fuck, there's someone with a pram coming up behind me. I better move to my left. But it made me think, like, say for example, you didn't move and someone was to like rattle your heels with the pram. Who are you shouting at? The bairn or the person pushing it?
Person pushing it.
Aye,
that's the logical one.
Bairn's not staring it.
Who are you shouting at, John? The bairn.
Probably the bairn.
You know, talking to lateness. I was just listening to a podcast earlier on. It was Shane Warne, the cricketer, and he was talking about when he was well, he wasn't talking. It was the other guy who was talking about when Shane Warne was the manager of the first IPL team, the Indian Cricket 2020 thing, and he wouldn't tolerate lateness. That was one of his, like, he would let them have a night out. He would no time coming back to your bed, no curfews, anything like that. But the bus is leaving at 10. If you know that at 10, the bus is fucking leaving. And at first everybody would be on the bus at 10, but then as it goes, it's folk think, well, I'm the big guy, I'll be late. So you'd be like, just fucking go. You can walk to the ground and that. And he had a go at them one night in the hotel saying, "You're walking about here like you think you're fucking superstars." Well, I am a fucking superstar, and I'm on time for the bus. Yeah, and I thought that's fucking quality, because he was a proper superstar, but lateness pisses me off.
You were saying there, John, about Shout at the Bairn in the supermarket, whatever. That Fesshole Twitter account, there was one on that the other day. It was, I think it was a woman. It was basically saying her kid was a pain in the arse. And there was one day he was acting up in the supermarket and she went and clipped him around the head, gave him a good belt, and it was her bear.
Was he still being an arsehole, the bear? No, so
somebody else is being an arsehole, but you'd be mortified at that because you have to talk about that. Sorry, I thought it was mine.
Say, no witnesses, fucking, it's hearsay.
Aye.
I had someone barge into once at a concert at the Hydro from behind. I genuinely did not hear them, and it was someone in a wheelchair asking me to go out of the way, and they said, "That's the fucking third time." Like how the fuck am I meant to hear you? And I shouted at them, like, "Who the fuck do you think you're fucking ramming into me? Your fucking wheelchair? Fuck off!"
Well, look, them between us.
Aye. It's a great episode, that one.
Brilliant.
They never said anything sexually inappropriate to you, John, did they?
No.
Good.
No, but I might have threatened to shove the wheelchair up their arse.
Right. Well, on that note,
you can edit that bit out.
No. We'll wrap that episode up. We'll be back shortly with episode 91. Till then, catch you later.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink what I know.